Was sworn in before President Mahinda Rajapaksa at President's house today.
Dr. Sarath Amudugama was sworn in as the new Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning. The President's media unit noted that Dr. Amudugama will hold this portfolio in addition to his current portfolio of Minister of International Monetary Cooperation. Meanwhile, the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Geethanjana Gunawardena, will now take over the portfolio of Deputy Minister of Civil Aviation.
The Department of Irrigation says that there is a danger of all the main rivers overflowing owing to the heavy rainfall in the past few days. The department requests the public to be vigilant. Meanwhile, the Met Department says that rain can be expected in many parts of the island today as well.
This is how the Ginganga had swollen by this morning. The Department of Irrigation said that the Ginganga has begun to overflow at several points. The department went on to note that the overflow level at Thavalama had reached 16.7 feet, while the level in Baddegama had reached 3.89 meters by this evening. Meanwhile, the Department of Irrigation noted that the Nilwala River had already reached spill level. Owing to this, several roads in Akurasa were inundated. Meanwhile, in Hangwala, the Kalani River too had reached its spill level. These are aerial footage obtained by us. The Department of Irrigation said that the spill level is 8 meters and the water had already reached 6.82 meters.
The
Kalani River, Nilwala River, the Ginganga, the Kaluganga and the Attanagalla Oya have received heavy rains. Floods are developing while some areas are underwater. According to the rainfall received, the water may rise within the next 7 to 8 hours.
Several tanks and reservoirs have reached spill level while some reservoirs are overflowing. Meanwhile, the Automobile Association of Ceylon notes that transportation on several roads has been hampered during the course of the day. Meanwhile, the Minister of Highways warned commuters not to use the Valleypan exit point on the Southern Expressway owing to a section of the Matugama-Aludgama road being inundated. The ministry requests commuters to use the Dodamgore exit point. Meanwhile, gale force winds and floods were reported from several areas in the island owing to the inclement weather. A large banyan tree down Cambridge Avenue in Colombo 7 had uprooted owing to the gale force winds and fallen onto a house. Meanwhile, gale force winds also damaged 5 houses in the Haltotiawata and Mimana areas in Horna last night. Horna Divisional Secretary Nishanti Jayasinghe noted that 2 houses in Mimana were severely damaged. Strong winds also damaged another 6 houses in the Atlugama area in Bandaragama. An earth embankment had fallen onto a house in the Puswalkada area in Imadua. Meanwhile, a tree along Kinsey Road in Colombo had also uprooted. Around 100 houses were damaged by gale force winds in Puttalam last night. The National Building Research Organization had warned of landslides in the western slopes of the hill country owing to the continuous rains. Chief Minister of the Central Province Sarath Ekanaika said that schools in the Nuvarele district were given a holiday tomorrow owing to the inclement weather. Gauthami Balika Vidyalaya in Kandy has also been given a holiday tomorrow owing to the threat of landslides. 69,659 persons from 16,590 families have been affected. Meanwhile, the total number of deaths stands at 6, while another 12 have been reported injured over the past 2 weeks. The Minister of Disaster Management has taken all measures to allocate funds for those affected. Meanwhile, Cyclone Neelam entered Indian territory via Mahavalipuram last evening. International media reported that 5 deaths have been reported so far.
The Disaster Management Centre states that roads and houses in the Hangwella and Malvana areas are inundated as the Kalani River has overflowed. The centre's director Pradeep Kodipilli stated that few boats are being sent to the area in order to provide relief to those affected.
And during the past few months, reservoirs and lakes in a number of areas were almost dried up. However, these reservoirs and lakes are now filling up due to the intermonsoonal rains. How can we protect this valuable natural resource? This segment is an attempt to provide an answer to this question.
Planet Earth, which comprises of water, air and soil, consists of a high percentage of water, which covers 71% of its surface area. Many countries in the world, including Sri Lanka, are currently facing numerous challenges owing to untimely rains. The best example for this situation is the delay in the intermonsoon rains during the past few months, which resulted in dried up lakes and reservoirs. Agriculture as well as hydropower generation were severely affected by this situation. We feel the importance of water only when we face a drought. The need to protect and conserve these natural resources is a topic of discussion around the world. Sri Lanka in general experiences a rainfall of about 1,861 millimeters annually. What can we do to conserve water? News First delves deep into this tomorrow.
Moving on, in today's Divinaguma segment, we delve deeper into the functions of the community banks proposed in the Divinaguma bill.
One of the aims of the Divinaguma bill is to initiate rapid development in rural areas. In order to fulfill this task, the Divinaguma bill proposes a system of community banks. According to the bill, each community bank that is established will be incorporated under its name and its functions will be guaranteed through the bill, similar to Divinaguma bank societies, which we explained yesterday. According to the bill, the community banks are established in order to fulfill 4 objectives: develop the habit of saving, develop the ability to invest, increasing income by increasing production capacity, and providing loans to the Divinaguma beneficiaries. In order to fulfill these objectives, the bill requires 5 tasks to be carried out by the Divinaguma community banks. The first of these is to encourage the Divinaguma beneficiaries to save. The other tasks include providing loans to Divinaguma beneficiaries under individual and group categories, creating awareness among the beneficiaries on financial management, and render a service to the public by certifying the well-being of the depositors and their families. The Divinaguma community banks will also carry out the task of distributing the relief provided by the government.
Now, lawyers and the Mahasangha point out that the actions of the opposition leader have directly contributed to the issues that have cropped up in the legal system and the independence of the judiciary. Now, they point out that the views expressed by the opposition leader over the past few days on the judiciary and his stance on the matter have resulted in aggravated issues in the judiciary.
Ranil Wickremesinghe said recently that issuing an enjoining order on a political party was similar to assaulting a judicial official. A debate took place in Parliament when Manjula Tilakaratne was assaulted. During that debate, Ranil Wickremesinghe did not speak as the opposition leader of Parliament or the party leader. Other leaders of opposition parties were prevented from speaking. The people know this. When the MPs in the lower ranks tried to raise their voice against this, saying that the opposition should act as the opposition, Ranil Wickremesinghe put a stop to it. He killed those voices. On the 1st of December, the convention will take place. By that time, a large number of UNPs will seek the assistance of the courts to defeat the emergence of a dictatorship through the extension of the leadership tenure to 6 years. I think myself and our party are the ones facing the most difficulty as a result of injunction orders issued by courts.
Now he is talking about the courts. He says that the courts did not rule in his and his party's favor. Decisions are made according to witnesses. This is an unbelievable opinion. This is like revenge. He should decide whether he is going to be the leader or a parliamentarian. I think he is not suitable for either.
The opposition and the opposition leader are the main cause for the judiciary to be in this situation. Now, Ranil Wickremesinghe is speaking against the courts because decisions given in cases against him were not in his favour. What he wants is for courts to decide in his and his party's favour. This is what he has said at group meetings, in parliament and at meetings. Because court gave decisions that did not favour him, he is saying, we will not be there for you. You better sort out your own issues. Is this what a responsible opposition leader should say? It is the duty of the public and the party supporters to oust such a dictatorial leader of the opposition.
General Secretary of the United National Bhikkhu Front, Venerable Thiniyavala Palithathera, speaking at a media briefing today, charged that the amendment to the Penal Code, which was tabled in Parliament recently, seriously violated the Constitution.
Through this, the majority of human rights laid down in the Constitution will be violated. At present, a person can be detained without charge for 24 hours, but through this bill, this will be extended to 48 hours. Even more importantly, through this bill, statements made by an arrested individual to the police can be accepted as evidence. Thus far, only confessions made before a magistrate have been accepted.
මෙතෙක් කල් තිබුණේ පොලිස් අත්අඩංගුවට පත්වෙච්ච පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ ප්‍රකාශයක් අධිකරණයේ ඉදිරියේ සාක්ෂියක් හැටියට.
Now the Sanchi Punya Mahotsava, which is a religious event that began in 1952, will be held on the 23rd, 24th and 25th of this month.
Now this year we are going to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Sanch Chaitiyagiri Vihara. This Vihara was founded in 1952 by Mahabodh Society of Sri Lanka. The first anniversary was it was opened by the late Prime Minister of India, Sri Jawaharlal Nehru. Invite all the Sri Lankans who wanted to visit Sanchi or to attend this Chaitiyagiri Vihara annual 60th anniversary and also the exposition of sacred relics of Sariputta and Mahamoggallana.
Police media spokesperson SSP Prashantha Jayakudi stated that a special police team has been assigned to investigate the incident where a woman was found dead inside a house in Varapitiya Kahavatta yesterday.
The body of a woman with laceration wounds was discovered inside a house in Kahavatta last evening. The Palmadula magistrate Nivanjana Dias visited the location this morning and conducted the magisterial inquiry. The post-mortem was held at the Ratnapura General Hospital.
9 women brutally murdered in Kahavatta. Latest murder reported yesterday from Varapitiya Kahavatta. A police post situated half a kilometer away from the crime scene. Has the added police presence been of any use? When will these murders in Kahavatta come to an end?
Moving on to business news, the Assistant Secretary to the Treasury, P.A. Abesekar, states that the revenue earned through taxes is sufficient only for daily expenses. He points out that if loans obtained for development purposes are to be reduced, then tax revenue should increase.
An awareness week to educate people regarding taxes began today. A unit to provide tax-related advice and several other services was declared open at the headquarters of the Department of Inland Revenue today. Assistant Secretary to the Treasury, P.A. Abesekar, who was present at the occasion, explained how tax revenue of 1,000 billion rupees is spent. We must remember that tax revenue is not sufficient for our development. 1.3 million of us who are in the government sector receive 300 of the 1,000 billion on the 25th of every month. Another 550,000 pensioners receive 125 billion annually. We provide higher education free of charge. We spend another 20 billion on healthcare and related services. Another 50 billion is spent on fertilizer subsidies. So it is the tax revenue that is being spent for these day-to-day activities.
අපි බෙහෙත් වලට විතරක් බිලියන 20ක් වාර්ෂික වැය කරනවා. පොහොර සහන ආධාර සඳහා බිලියන 50. එතකොට මේ කියන බදු ආදායම තමයි එදිනදා කටයුතු සඳහා විශේෂයෙන්ම වැය කරන්නේ.
Abesekar also focused on future development challenges.
අපි දකිනවා ප්‍රධාන මාර්ග කාපට් වෙනවා. නමුත් ගමට යන පාරවල් ඒවා තාම සංවර්ධනය කරන්න.
We see roads being carpeted, but roads in villages and rural areas, schools and hospitals in rural areas have not been renovated over the past 10 years. We need to develop a lot of things in order to be the miracle of Asia. We obtain loans worth more than 1,000 billion rupees annually. So our department has a big responsibility to increase tax revenue for the development of our country.
එනිසා ඔබේ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට විශාල වගකීමක් පැවරෙනවා. අපේ රට සංවර්ධනය කිරීම සඳහා මේ බදු ආදායම් කාර්යක්ෂමව
A conference to educate taxpayers on taxes was also held in line with the Department of Inland Revenue's Tax Awareness Week.